Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Jaycast podcast. I'm your host Jay,
And Jay.
and how you guys been doing? We're gonna really just get right to it, right, Jay? What do you
Yeah,
say?
right to it, man. So
Uh,
many events.
yeah. So just in case some of you guys don't know, because Twitter might have been down at the time, but Ron DeSantis has announced that he's running for president of the United States. Well, I guess he wants to run right now for the primaries, the RNC primaries, but he has one guy to beat. Who do you think that is?
Big boy Donald Trump.
So what do you?
The trumpet.
So many things too to discuss on that. First off, do you think Biden is gonna run again?
Hell no. And if he wins, like there's definitely a problem with America, man.
That and yeah, people just I guess are just like the pain.
Yeah.
But I think Gavin Newsom is gonna be put in the forefront. For those of you guys who don't know, Gavin Newsom is the governor of California. In some situations, what might end up happening is this:
Damn, dude. Even with the current state of Florida, California.
people voted for him again. Even when they had the like special elections or some stuff like that, they voted for him again. But
That's crazy, man.
yeah, so I suspect the DNC is gonna boot Biden. Okay, because it's just no, you can't just you look at him and you hear him talking like okay, this guy, it's not even funny. It's like this guy is not really coherent.
Yeah, he's
You
not
get
there,
somebody
man.
right, get somebody young at least. I think they're gonna put Gavin Newsom there. I think the RNC. I don't know what's gonna happen. If DeSantis beats Trump, it'll be Trump versus Newsom, the governor of California versus Florida. How do you want your country to run? Do you want your country to look like Florida, or do you want your country to look like California? That's gonna be the major
Yeah.
decision. Like if it turns out like that, who do you think is gonna win the RNC?
Damn, I think it's gonna be between that guy you just said from California, and I think Donald Trump's gonna beat DeSantis, man.
You think so?
I think what DeSantis did was very it was dumb, man. Not strategic at all. He should have waited. Even though I know he doesn't get along with Donald Trump, but at one point supposedly Donald Trump did
They
vouch
got
for him,
along.
right?
Yeah, they got along a lot
Yeah.
during COVID and stuff like that. They got along quite well. But
He should have been like under his wing.
the thing about Donald Trump is that the media has painted him, whether you agree with it or not, in such a light that he looks terrible as a
Yeah.
person. He looks terrible as a president, and by extension, that makes the Republican Party look terrible as a party of America.
So you think they're trying to clean house and just
They-
have DeSantis
if-
come in? And,
Yeah, so DeSantis, he's a Republican. He doesn't have like the level of controversy that Donald Trump has, right? And I think go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Now that you mentioned that, do you think that if he does win the Republican, representation in election, do you think that they're gonna dig deep now on him?
Yeah. I have no doubt that if DeSantis somehow is able to beat Trump, they're gonna find Russian collusion. They're gonna find a whole bunch of collusion, Russian collusion, Chinese
Chinese.
collusion.
Yeah.
They're gonna find a whole bunch of stuff. And quite frankly, I'm a little suspicious myself as to how Ron DeSantis is worth like $50 million last I checked or something like that.
Oof, sounds like he's doing some lobbying.
Fact check me, guys, at home, but I think he's worth a couple of millions. During COVID, he got really rich.
Damn. That federal funding came in.
Allegedly,
Clutch.
allegedly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Ron DeSantis. If I was the RNC strategist, if I was like a political strategist, I would be like, all right, you all got to get together, you all got to boot Trump out, you all got to stand behind DeSantis. You know what I mean? DeSantis is not some random politician who just showed up. DeSantis has been doing what seems to be a good job running
Yeah.
Florida.
He has a pretty good track record.
He has
I
a
think.
good he has a good track record in the sense that, judging from how many people are moving into Florida as opposed to
Yeah.
moving out of Florida compared to how people are moving out of California, it seems that the way that the state itself is ran, whether people want to hate on DeSantis or not, the actions have been showing that they've approved it, that they've approved of his actions. Even his most ardent criticizers and detractors, his most ardent criticizers and detractors are moving to Florida, or at the very least vacationing in Florida.
Yeah.
Really quickly before we hop off the political topic, I'm not sure if you know, he's a comedian, I forgot his name, Jimmy Dore.
Mm-hmm.
He used to be a liberal or a Democratic. He's one of those old school guys that if you see him like in the 90s, smokes weed and yeah, let people be who
Like
they
free, whatever.
yeah,
like-
let people be who they want to be with.
Yeah.
But now it seems like he's getting kind of disillusioned with the Democratic Party. You know why? So whether people disagree or agree with universal health care or not, whatever your takes are on that, the Democratic Party had control of the House and the Senate, I think, for 2 years. and they didn't do squat.
Wow.
They didn't put it up. From what I understand, they didn't put it on the floor. They didn't vote on it. Nothing. And now that election time is coming around, they're talking about universal health care again.
Oh wow.
What do you think that means?
They're trying to attract certain people to vote
Exactly.
for them.
That's exactly it. And they're like, yeah, we need universal health care. We're gonna
Yeah.
introduce it and blah blah.
Yeah.
And then once they get in, they'll kick it to the curb again because people, the left and the right, the Democrats and the Republicans, they're all in bed with big businesses. That's it. It's just that simple. The only difference is that the media portrays one side better than the other,
Yeah.
or one side worse than the other. If you want to go down that route, they're a bunch of hypocrites.
Yeah. And then DeSantis. Before we get to the whole like hypocrite thing that you mentioned, DeSantis actually, after he passed that law of not letting foreign people invest,
What do you think about that? What's your thought on that?
I think that
Should America-
hell yeah, dude, I think it's a good law, and the reason I say that is because when it comes to other countries, I think Canada has the same thing in place where they don't let like foreigners invest. I might be wrong.
Now,
Audience, let us know if that's true or not.
Now, did he I'm not sure about this law. Did he pass it to prevent people from buying property here, which will then prevent prices from continuing to skyrocket and pricing people out of the market? Or was he trying to prevent some kind of foreign financial, quote unquote, financial invasion?
Yeah, so what he's targeting, he only targeted countries that have Communist Party, right? So it's against our whole economy and stuff. So it's not something personal. It's more like, the way we do business, and I think it's good. But I think there's a few lawsuits against him because he passed that law, and I think it's predominantly has like Chinese USA citizens. I guess they're not happy about
Well,
the
I
whole
mean,
thing.
if you're a citizen here in the United States and you want to buy a house, I'm sure that if you read the bill, it probably says you're allowed to buy a house.
Yeah,
You know
but
what
I think
mean?
it's probably because maybe they have family that's Chinese or something, or Russian or
Because
whatever.
what a lot of people do, people don't know this, is that people in foreign countries, especially in countries that have slight economic turbulence that people are more than comfortable with, the wealthy people, they don't change their currency to dollars and leave them there. They change their currency to dollars and then they buy property as kind of quote unquote storage vehicles for their wealth. So they're technically what they're doing is they're converting their wealth to like a house or a building or something like that.
Yeah, so
Where-
it's kind of like money laundering, because a lot of people, what they do is kind of like what you mentioned. A lot of foreigners, what they do is they have a whole bunch of cash that they acquired illegally. So what they do is they'll buy an apartment in New York, leave it empty. That way they converted their illegal made cash into a real
Right.
asset, let that shit appreciate in value, go back to the country, continue making more money, and money
Yeah.
laundering.
Yeah, and all they gotta do is like just tell the United States like, yeah, no, it's a business in my other country.
Yeah,
You know
and
what I mean?
I bought an asset. I'm investing in your country. I'm bringing this much money, and they're not gonna say no to that.
Doing one thing and then saying one thing and then doing the other, eh?
Yep.
Who else did that? You've been
Oh,
you've been messaging
that sounds
me,
like someone that's a hypocrite.
you've been messaging me all week about Abba and Preach, man.
Man, Abba and Preach,
what's
bro.
on your chest, man?
I'll tell you exactly what's on my chest, man. So there's a lot of drama and a lot of stuff that's been going on with the red pill community and all that stuff. I mean, here in the J podcast, we're not part of that community. I don't think we're part of any
We
community.
commentate on it a lot, and
Yeah.
we kind of know some of the stuff about it, but we're not a red pill podcast. We're not a Manosphere podcast.
Yeah, I think we're more logical. We use logic.
and it's not even so much logical, and it's not even so much that being logical. It's just like
or common sense.
we don't. Well, I feel like the podcast. I don't want to associate the podcast with any one thing, because then
Yeah.
we're kind of like in there only. Like we'll become that.
True,
You know what I mean?
true, yeah.
Like if we talked about sports all the time and we say we're a sports podcast, then we're
Yeah.
kind of just a little bit that. And I'm like, nah, I'd rather have a more of a Joe Rogan kind of style, or like a kind of free for all type of podcast where we talk about cool stuff. But yeah, you sent me the video. Like, what was it? Myron was calling out ABBA and said he was gonna.
Yeah, yo. So he's basically calling out ABBA because I think he's fed up with ABBA creating a whole bunch of like reaction videos against him, and he named a whole bunch of like other red pill people. I guess we'll get into that as well, like
Yeah.
Rolo
So-
and all these other.
But this has
red
been
pill-
like almost 2 years in the making, right? Like I think. So my understanding is that Myron from Fresh and Fit was supposedly like criticizing or saying he doesn't pay to have intercourse with women. Okay, that he
Yeah.
doesn't do that. I think allegedly that's high value men don't do that. I think so he's saying. Feel free to fact check me. Then it turns out he had an account on
Like a
seeking
sugar.
arrangements or sugar daddy or something,
Yeah.
allegedly.
No, I think he admitted to it. He said he uses that as a way to get girls or whatever. He uses
Yeah,
like every
because
tool that's out there. Or
yeah,
whatever.
okay. And so then Abba and Preach called him out on that, and they started like kind of making fun of the fact that he was saying one thing and
Yeah.
doing the other. And I think that's how kind of
Well,
things.
to Myron's defense, not like I'm defending him.
No, it's fine, bro. Like we
But
can't agree with everything,
yeah,
you know.
but to Myron's defense, you can't call out someone on something if they're admitting to it. Like he prior to him, like people calling him out, whatever. He had like several episodes that I saw, where he was like, "Yeah, I utilize Tinder, I utilize all these social media platforms to get girls." But yes, it is hypocritical. Not
basically
kind of, it is
paying.
hypocritical to what he
Yeah,
he preaches.
He was basically paying
Preaches.
for it. He was basically paying for it.
I don't know if maybe he used it for a way to like contact girls, or maybe he went through with it. I mean, why would you have a seeking agent?
Exactly.
You're not going to utilize it for what it's meant for.
We're gonna
Yeah,
say, hey,
it's
no, I'm only
not.
here to take you out on dates. I don't know how that stuff works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, at the end of the day, is like he got called out on it, and I think Myron's gripe was that, yo, Abba, you came to my podcast, you came to my house, we was kicking it, we were cool and everything, and then you turn around and you start like kind of talking trash about us, and I guess to him he felt like that was like a betrayal.
Yeah, so he says he's a very loyal guy. He felt like that was a betrayal or whatever.
Yeah. So here's the thing about Myron, from what I've noticed.
Oh shit, yo, you're about to go in.
No. I don't have any issues with these guys. I'm just obviously we're creating content.
Yeah.
We're making statements based on observation. Wasn't this the guy who was about to one of his homeboys pulled up to his house and was like about to square up with him because he owed him money or he did something allegedly.
Yeah, I don't
They
think it
had-
was all money, but it was some trash talking that was happening. But yeah, one of his ex.
All of this guys will want to just say it's allegedly.
Yeah,
allegedly.
yeah.
I know because one thing I'll tell you about Fresh and Fit, I know how they roll. They'll start sending strikes to your channel.
Oh yeah, I heard about that shit.
Yeah, like that's another thing I forgot to bring up too. These guys, like for all the stuff that they preach about maintaining fame and all that stuff, these guys came after a lot of channels, a lot of reaction channels, and they started putting strikes on them.
It is for use though, right? Whenever you put content on YouTube.
But the thing is, like smaller channels can't really defend themselves. Bigger channels could, because bigger channels have more connects, from what I understand.
Oh, okay.
And so these guys are doing reaction channels to Myron and stuff like that, or Fresh and Fit, and then Fresh and Fit strike them, causing some of these people's channels to get lost.
What the hell?
This is the kind of guys you guys want to follow. You know what I mean? This is the kind of guys you guys want to follow, and that's why when Abba and Preach had their foot on Fresh and Fit's neck, I didn't really have too much of a problem with it, because I'm like, yo, these guys, you know, I respect their hustle.
Yeah.
You got to respect the hustle, bro. They brought a different style to this whole podcast game, but when somebody criticizes you, you don't destroy their livelihood. You know what I mean? That's when I kind of started not having as much respect for them as I would have. But what do you think? Like, you think Abba was wrong for doing that, or you think he was like got fed up?
I think that I mean, overall, when it comes to Alvin Preach, I do watch the channel and stuff, but I noticed that the majority of the content that they create is just reaction. And it's just like basically calling people out on certain things. And there was one thing that they mentioned about like Myron mentioned about adding value, whatever. I do think that when it comes to the red pill community, or like just giving men advice, maybe it's something that that guy Walter and Myron are I don't maybe not qualified to talk about, especially based on like what you just mentioned right now. You know, he talks about you shouldn't pay a woman for like
their intercourse or their
intercourse and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's on a website that's basically meant to get girls to use you for money and then acquire that eventually or hopefully, right?
And I'm not even judging that. It's just you turned around and you started calling guys all these other names who did do that to make yourself kind of seem like higher value than them.
But I think they're both in the wrong. I would definitely want to know the whole story, right? Like who started what, and if someone did start something, I think that if someone apologized or whatever, and met like there was an episode that happened yesterday, and I tuned in because I was like, oh shit, I watch both channels and stuff. I try to tune in, especially when there's like a subject matter expert that I want to know about and shit. And he was like, I met Abba in person. He was a really cool guy, blah, blah, blah. And then, we thought we squashed or whatever. I'm not sure why Abba and Preach came back and continued
Something must have
consistently.
happened,
Yeah,
bro.
something to consistently talk trash about Fresh and Fit and other. I mean, I know why Abba and Preach talk shit about people that say you have to endure certain things, and we will
Oh,
talk
we're gonna
about
get
that.
that.
But
We're gonna get to that.
We're gonna endure into
You
that
guys
realm.
you guys are gonna endure that.
Yeah. But yeah, I would like to know that part. Like, why is that? And I think that's something that Myron called them out. Like, hey guys, either you guys come over here and fight or something, or we can have a discussion. But I want to know why is it that you guys continue to create content?
I'll say this. Obviously, how we kind of do the stuff that we do in our personal lives, we look for trends, right? We look for
Yeah.
trends, and so the trends that I seen with Abba and Preach, where people come after them because they did something dirty to them, or they said one thing and did the other, or they did people dirty. It's almost non-existent. I can't really think outside of Fresh and Fit. I can't really think of anybody who's came after Abba and Preach because of a business deal gone wrong or a business
Yeah,
deal.
so it's cool that you say that, and weird in a way too, because Myron did mention that like no one stands up and does
But that's
a
the
thing to him. Maybe maybe you're right. I know you're about to say is it that you're gonna say that maybe it's because they don't have any dirt, is because they're not
well,
like that.
no, everybody has dirt. What I'm saying
Yeah,
is there have been more people who have stood up to Myron. You know what I
yeah,
mean? To Myron and Fresh and Fit. Actual people who called them out on their stuff. Actual people who showed up to their house. Florida is an open carry state.
yeah,
For the fact that somebody is so upset with you that they pull up to your house knowing that you could have a gun. This guy Myron supposedly was an ex-DHS or something like that.
yeah.
That,
He
that guy.
is. Yeah,
They pull up to your house because they're that upset with you. Whereas in Canada, where you're not allowed to have firearms, or you are, I don't know if you're allowed to
I
have
don't
it,
know the
but
laws
not as
there.
free. But you don't ever hear any channel coming out and saying, "Yeah, I've been preached, did dirt on me, or did dirt and they did me dirty this way and they did this, and this." The only thing I found out about ABBA, looking at it like something from a long time ago, like
Yeah,
he paid for his mom's house after he got out of the military or something like that. That's kind of like the only one of the major news that I found. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And so you look at it's like you're looking at two cases, right? You're looking at two people in a case, and you're like, well, this group of people, yeah, some of their stuff might be tasteless, and I might not agree with everything, but they don't have like people literally coming after them and getting on a phone call saying like, yeah, I'm gonna tell you what Abba and Priest did to me. But
but that's the thing. Like they react to so many people, but
bro, Sneeko came after them. Remember when Abba had that debate with Sneeko? You remember that? I don't even remember, but
yeah, I know there was a debate, but what happened? Like Sneeko called him out or something? Or?
well, in the debate, there were, it kind of it was going back and forth, but then afterwards, Sneeko was like, yeah, I haven't preached. It's just, I don't want to put words in Sneeko's mouth, but he didn't have too many kind things to say about him. It wasn't mean, but it was kind of like, yeah, man, these guys are, these guys do this, and these guys, obviously, like just talking about him. So clearly, nobody. It's not that people are afraid to stand up to Abba and preach. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Is that hey, Abba and preach. If you're their friends, from what I see, and you do something stupid, they're gonna just make a video about it. Which that you can say, okay, that's kind of messed up. I thought we were friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That I can get, but as far as people coming after them, the way people come after Fresh and Fit, and all that stuff, it's just I don't know, man. What do
Yeah,
you think?
I think it's because of the nature of their show. Like they bring on girls, bro. They're they're constantly dealing in a territory where there is a lot of backlash, and there is going to be a lot of people that want to get revenge and stuff. Especially
Oh,
when they're you're talking about tough situations, in tough topics. Like people feel some type of way, and they might come back at you. It's the nature of their show and the content they
the thing is, the
produce.
stuff that they spout is like keep your emotions in check, maintain your frame, do this, do
Yeah,
that, do
yeah.
this, do that, do this. And it's like, yeah, guys, but I don't know, man. You guys are getting into a lot of high school level. It seems like to be high school level arguments. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
honestly,
Well, it takes two to tango, so you know what I mean. It's like
yeah,
it's
but
back and forth.
I've been preaching and preaching, like some of the red pill tenants that Fresh and Fit are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it comes, I mean, my opinion, anyways. But when it
Yeah.
comes to like business and what do they have, Money Mondays and stuff like that, I think
Yeah.
that stuff is pretty cool. Do your thing. But when it
Yeah.
comes
By
to
the way, guys, tune into Motivational Monday.
yeah, but when it comes to like the red pill stuff, I think they should just stick to. Here I am telling them how to run their show. They should just stick
Yeah.
to. They should just stick to. Here are the statistics. Here's what's going on. Here's what you should do, and that's it. I think it's tasteless to bring women onto your show, poke and prod them, get them angry, and then kick them out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, dude.
That is
Like
true.
you,
Yeah.
you want to have a little bit more class than that. And if you're like, well, I do have class, but they just get me upset. Well, then vet the woman you bring. How many more women are you gonna? How many more OnlyFriends model or those type of girls are gonna keep bringing on the show to kick out? What value are you bringing there that
Well,
you haven't already
he
discussed?
I think his take on it is that he brings those women on so that way people can see their nature and
It's
how
been
they
how many
are.
episodes now?
No,
A
but the
thousand?
thing is, more people, new people are gonna new people are gonna constantly subscribe to the channel. So it's like, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
They can watch the old content, I
it's a
guess, and say,
it's a
hey, yeah, this is what you
look.
guys are
It's a
about.
business, I guess. And if the formula's working and generating the money, I guess.
Yeah, it probably works for them. Like it attracts, people to tune in. I
Yeah, that's
guess.
the
Like,
thing. I
oh,
don't.
what's the next girl that's gonna get kicked out or some
Yeah,
shit?
yeah. And that's the thing. I don't want to do that with this podcast. I don't want to like, damn, this thing is whack, but he's bringing us money. Let's keep doing
Yeah,
it. But
yeah.
and then it's like, all right, are you really bringing kind of value? Even Vlad TV, bro. He usually has rappers for the most part, but he had Neil deGrasse Tyson on
Oh really?
recently.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he did. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like,
I think we talked about him last week, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's I used to like. I'm gonna buy his book. I'm still buy his book.
Oh shit.
He has a book called the Stary Scientist or something like that.
Yeah.
Where I'm gonna still buy his book and I'm gonna listen to it or read it or whatever the case is. But I just don't think, like I said, man, I think he's become a bit too dogmatic, and I think being dogmatic as a scientist is not. It kind of puts you a lot closer to being a religious zealot almost,
Yeah.
where it's like you don't want to hear any new ideas, you don't want to discuss, you don't want to challenge already established. And I'm not talking about stuff like the Earth is flat, or the Earth is round. Let's challenge it.
Yeah.
But if somebody says, let me talk about this real quick, man, because climate change, right? People say climate change is real and that it's happening and that it's true and this, that, and the other. My thing is this. Well, what are your takes on climate change?
Yeah, I think it is real. I think it is happening, but I think they're exaggerating at the rate it's happening.
So when somebody tells you, "Hey, this is
And
happening,"
I think it's always been happening. And I think it will always happen,
yeah,
regardless of what we do with
I th-
emissions.
I think before it used to be global warming. Now they call it climate change.
Yeah.
Pretty soon it'll be called man-made climate change. But when somebody tells you, "Jay, you're about to get hurt. You should do this differently." Jay, you're about to get hurt. You should do, and they start kind of like kind of being an alarmist, right? You'd be like, all right, well, what's this guy? Why does this guy care so much about me now all of a sudden? Then they say, Jay, you're about to get hurt unless you do this, and the only way you could do this is if you pay $15. Aha, wait a minute, there's money involved here now. And so what I'm bringing up with that is you hear a lot of things called carbon taxes and stuff like that, and people they've been kind of like mulling an idea over of like charging you a carbon tax based on how many miles you drive.
Yeah, I heard about the highway tax that they're
Yeah.
gonna implement
So it's
that
like
soon.
wait a minute. So what happened to climate? Like this is gonna stop climate change?
Yeah.
This is gonna stop not hey, let's make better rail systems so people could drive less. Not, hey, if you don't have to fly to a meeting, don't telecommute. Let's have better internet cable. Nope, just pay us more money, right? All that just to say this. Supposedly the science about climate change, man-made climate change, is settled and established. However, there are respectable scientists and I think the word climatologists who don't agree with the settled science. These guys aren't fringe scientists.
Yeah.
These guys aren't people. These guys are, and I don't know their name because off the top of my head, but these guys are people who've been working in the field of climate and geology and all that stuff for decades, and they're saying they might not agree with supposedly the settled science, but because we've become dogmatic, because the institution of science is slowly becoming dogmatic, if you question climate change, now you're seen as a, for lack of a better term, as a heretic.
Wow.
Yeah.
It sounds like the days of like when
The Catholic
Pope-
Church
Catholic
used to
Church,
persecute
yeah.
you for questioning.
Freaking nuts.
And so they'll be like, oh yeah, this guy, this respectable scientist who probably has published thousands of papers and has done a huge body of work, he doesn't agree with climate change. Instead of saying, oh, why doesn't this guy agree with it? This is not me. It's not me
Yeah.
saying it. Why is this guy saying he doesn't agree with climate change? Let's find out. Let's ask him why. Show us. What do you think? And for those of you guys who don't know, Neil Oliver on YouTube for I forgot what YouTube channel, he had a really good take on climate change in general regarding how they came up with those 97% of scientists believe climate change is real. Apparently, and I'm gonna, hopefully I don't misspeak. It was something along the lines of there were 100 papers, right?
Yeah.
20% of those papers said that they believe in climate change. 5% said that they didn't. Okay, and then the 75% were still unsure.
Okay, so they assume that those 75%.
They did worse than that. They piled up the 75% on top of the 20%. And they got the number 95% of climate scientists agree that climate change is real and 5% don't.
Yeah.
So they did something funny with the numbers. They did something, and then things like Greta Thunberg and at the World Economic Forum. What was she doing over there?
There's like, dude, I think she's a puppet and.
Totally, bro.
Yeah, and she's really weird because there has been interviews where they call her out and say, hey, how much emission did you produce taking that jet to get from here to there? And she just chuckles and laughs. That's not a funny manner if it's something that you stand for.
And climate change activists should be furious about this because they'll hold that girl up, and that girl will make your entire movement. And I say that girl, I mean Greta Thunberg. I don't mean like the fact that she's a woman. I have to specify this.
Yeah.
Greta Thunberg, the way she acts on those videos in terms of being questioned and stuff like that, she makes the entire climate change movement look like a joke, to not be taken seriously. I think that's what they did.
What's her favorite quote?
How dare you?
Guys, watch episode 1.
Yes, if you can endure the sound quality.
Yes, we're getting back to endure, bro.
So go ahead.
So we're gonna go back to the whole like red pill community, as we mentioned earlier that Album Preach were mentioning other red pill people, and I think there was a specific person that stood out.
The whatever podcast guy.
Yeah, the whatever podcast guy with the special guest guy, whatever.
Destiny. They had Destiny on.
Oh,
right?
He was on that shit.
Yeah. Destiny was on it. I don't know if that was the girl who was on it was his girl, and it was Destiny.
What's the name of the other guy? The indoor guy.
I don't know, man. I don't even care, bro. Dude with the suit.
Yeah, dude with the suit.
And
I think he might be. But anyway,
the dude. They talk about. They were talking, and this conversation about gender dynamics is kind of already old. It's kind of tiring already, bro. Like, yo, you guys don't like each other. The sexes don't like each other. All right, fine. All right, whatever. That's it. It is what it is. Anyways, they were talking about like divorce rates and stuff like that, and they were talking about like, hey,
who initiates divorces,
and who does this, and when is it acceptable to initiate divorce, or something like that,
and what you should endure and things like that.
Dude,
what did he say about enduring,
bro? Old boy was like, yeah, don't be a quitter or something like that. And then the girl next to Destiny was like, yeah, but there are cases where divorce should be acceptable, right? And he was like, well, you can't just walk away when things get difficult, blah, blah, yeah. Well, she brought up a good point. She's like, well, what happens if the guy is performing acts of physical violence towards his spouse, towards his female spouse?
Yeah.
These guys gonna look at the camera and start saying, well, she should endure. Like, what?
Yeah.
My man, what? But that's what
I think specifically he said, I might be wrong, but he said that if it happens once, you should endure it, I guess. And then
if something only happens once, you don't have to endure it.
Yeah.
You work through it. I'm not saying you stick around, but if you only endure something that you have to. If I'm running 3 miles, I am enduring the pain of each mile.
But there's a benefit to that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not a benefit to like causing harm to someone else.
Yeah, old boy was like, yeah, I think they should endure. There have been many people who have had a relationship, and then, in the relationship, the husband got physically, violent or something like that towards his spouse. But after they got over that, they had a successful marriage. I'm like, bro. And then somebody was like, well, first off, Jaycast, we don't agree with domestic violence.
We don't
at all. I think
first attempt, no matter how many attempts happen,
bro,
no one should endure. No one should endure that.
Yeah, nobody should endure that from somebody who supposedly loves you. And then the guy at the suit jumps in. He's like, and that's what gets me mad about society. Everybody quits. Hey, this is not quitting. This is.
Yeah. By the way, we're gonna at that guy, bro. Like,
yeah,
he needs to hear this.
Yeah, this ain't Japan, and we ain't no women. If you know what I mean. Fam.
Yeah.
This ain't Japan, and we ain't no women. But old boy was like, yeah, people quit. These are a bunch of quitters. When things get too hard, they quit. We're not talking about a person who's dealing with like a health issue. That you endure. Like, that's your partner. You endure that event with them. We're not talking about a person who's having difficulty at his job, his or her job. That you endure. We're talking about a person who's physically beating somebody's, and both ways, right? Both ways. Physically beating somebody's daughter, sister, mom, the kids looking at that. And you're saying your job here is to say, sit there and endure and work through it.
Yeah.
This is why nobody takes the red pill serious anymore, because you got dweebs like,
I don't even know his name, man. To be
Yeah,
honest,
well, I
like,
don't even want to call him a dweeb, but like that was a dweebish thing to say, bro. That was a foolish thing to say.
Yeah.
Sit there and take it, and then the audacity, bro. And then you ask these guys, well, what if the wife cheats on the guy? Should he endure the cheating and the disrespect? Well, then he wants to bring up, kind of quoting, paraphrasing here. He wants to bring up the Bible, and he says paraphrasing, even Jesus said that divorce is permissible by adultery, blah blah. Like, bro, getting beat on, okay, is worse than being cheated on.
Yeah.
There's still pain, and there's a lot of pain, but bro, come on, bro. You can hurt somebody physically in one way, and then they were like, well, what happens if your daughter is in a physically, you know,
Violent
relationship? It's
Yeah.
like, well, would you tell her to endure? Like, well, I would have a conversation with the dad, like, yeah, no, with the husband, like, yeah, no, duh.
Yeah.
Like, no guy, like, this is why nobody takes the community seriously, bro. And then the guy wants to
it's like he pick and chooses. He doesn't stand by his word.
yeah,
and
just
stuff.
say,
It's like,
bro, you say, hey, I don't agree with.
actually, not. It's not even about standing by your word. It's like what he's saying is wrong.
Yes,
period.
bro.
Like,
Yes, and hypocritical.
very
borderline
bad.
hypocritical.
Yeah. What the hell?
And it's like, oh, they shouldn't. And then the guy in the suit was like, yeah, people want to quit the moment things happen. Like, bro, no, man. I think you should leave a physically abusive relationship, bro.
If you're a guy, if you're a girl, like, get out of that.
And then like, nah, people want to quit. That's the problem with today's society. And I don't know, like, man, please.
I think that he's one of the reasons. He's probably one of the reasons why, like, the new wave of feminism like exists, because in their mindset they think that guy, toxic masculinity. Like, he's
That's
the
the
reason.
face.
Yeah,
These guys are and that's what bothers me. These guys are the face of not just the manosphere, right? But men in general.
and you know what? That's not even something masculine.
Yeah, bro.
To cause harm to
Another person, and
like,
then co-sign that thing. You know what I mean? And these guys are the face too of the manosphere. So now when everybody looks at other men who had nothing to do with this, in their head they're gonna look at a guy who probably would co-sign what this guy said, what the guy in the suit said, or the other guy said that it's okay. Now they didn't say
didn't the host co-sign what he said or something?
yeah,
like
they didn't
that?
say it was okay to beat or physically be abusive to your spouse.
Yeah.
They said just endure. And then they try to walk it back a couple of days
Same
later.
shit, man.
And they try to walk it back. But my problem with that is that that's the manosphere, that's the red pill. And these are the guys who are like,
teaching the next
teaching
generation.
the next generation, right? And then nobody else is coming out and saying like, yo, we don't co-sign this. We have nothing to do with that.
Well, we are. What the hell?
But we're now red pill manosphere guys.
Yeah, we're
You know
not.
what I mean? But if you were running a company and somebody says something wild,
Yeah.
the CEO or the main heads of the company would be like, yo, old boy said that, we don't co-sign that, we don't agree with that. You know what I mean? And then they ask him what happens if your daughter is the one in that situation. You're like, well, I have a conversation with the you're not gonna tell her to endure? Well, you're like, I have a conversation with the guy. Well, according to you should be having a conversation with your daughter, right? And telling her to endure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
they switch up on you.
and then you tell them like,
else.
but if your wife cheats on you, you're not gonna endure that. Like, just low hanging fruits, like, bro. But here's the thing, bro. And I didn't mean to go on a rant, but the thing is this. That's what happens, I think, when you tribalize something. Is no longer, hey, that's a good point, opposite person who believes in different ideals than I do. That's a good point. It's more, I have to defend what I say, or I have to take a position opposite of what you say.
Yeah.
Because I have to defend my ideals and my tribe.
Is it like I need to be right all the time?
I have to win.
Yeah.
I have to win this debate.
Damn, people like that never grow, bro. Like, they get stuck in that ideology that they've created in their mind.
Yeah, and it's like I have to
which
win.
is hypocritical to other things that they say.
Bro,
So
how difficult is it to say, yeah, I think we should leave because I think she should leave and the guy should get help or whatever. I think, because obviously you wouldn't want your female family and friends to be in a relationship or in a situation where they're feared for their life with the person they lay next to. You know what I mean? This guy has millions of followers or whatever. Or whatever. You know? You know what I mean? And that's messed up, man. And that's messed up and that's wrong. And I think he would have done better by just saying, yeah, if she's in a situation where the guy
there's certain situations where divorce is something that you should consider. What the hell?
Yeah, especially if your physical health is at stake, bro. And I think even verbal abuse, I don't even know where I'd say that word. That's fine.
Yeah, we are.
But I think verbal abuse also, from the very little that I researched, verbal abuse actually causes physiological damage to the person, to their health. You don't see the black eyes, but for some reason your stomach is always hurting. You can't sleep.
I think it also kind of like affects especially I would say like for a woman or their self-esteem, right?
Yeah,
So they're
self-esteem.
so used to being
The,
like called certain things that
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
yeah
The
they,
kids see that, or the kids themselves are victims
yeah
of. I don't like the word victim, but the kids themselves kind of receive a lot of, verbal abuse and stuff like that. And I feel like if we do more study on the physical effects of verbal abuse as they relate to like a person's actual physiological health, I think we would be more concerned
yeah
with physical with verbal abuse more than physical abuse, because
yeah
physical abuse you can put ice on it. Again, I'm not saying it's okay, obviously, but you can put ice on it. Whereas verbal abuse, you actually need therapy to kind of undo all the years of verbal abuse that you've been having. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I think there's like studies of like plants. It even works on plants.
Like the music and how they grow and stuff like that. Was
Yeah,
that it? Yeah.
or people like just like curse or just like say certain things to a plant. The plant actually dies. There's like
For real?
yeah, there's like studies on that.
Well, I gotta take a look at that
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Sure, it's not like some
No, there was actually like a case
some
study
weird study.
of a person having a plant and just like constantly abusing it verbally.
Oh,
But yeah,
yeah, man. But yeah, man. Yeah, guys. Ladies, if you're in a relationship where the guy's physically violent to you, like leave.
yeah. And if you're a man, same thing.
Yeah, if you're a man, same thing. Do not. You're not fighting for anything. You're not fighting for anything by putting. You're not being a martyr by putting yourself in harm's way for nothing. You have a life to
Yeah,
live. If you have kids, find a way to, find a way to get out of there. But don't wait till you have kids to realize that you have to leave. The guy's being physically violent, and it doesn't take that long for somebody to get. It's very rare, right? I would assume that 20 years in marriage, you'd be 20 years in marriage with somebody, and then like the guy starts just like swinging at you,
yeah. There's like an escalation that
yeah,
happens.
and it comes as a complete shock, like, oh,
Yeah,
that has never happened before. We've been together for 20 years. That guy's never even raised, like, what happened there? That's, I would assume that's very rare. You kind of know already. Like, even within the first year, bro, like,
yeah,
I don't have the studies with me right now, but I'm sure that somebody with violent tendencies, you don't have to wait 5 years in the relationship to find out. So
yeah,
do not stay. Please get help. There's more women's shelters out there than men's shelters. I think 75% of the shelters are for women and children.
yeah.
There's always somebody willing to help out, especially in the urban areas. There's always somebody with a vendetta against wife beaters, as they should have, and they're ready to help you out and destroy the guy.
Yeah. So don't listen to this Endure guy.
Don't listen to the
Yeah.
whatever podcast in regard as it relates to the topic of divorce as a result of physical altercations that
Yeah.
can be
I think they kind of I think they kind of follow the whole fresh and fit like
it's
agenda
I have-
or whatever they are like
Yeah, man,
having
yeah.
a whole bunch of girls on and triggering them and
18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds.
using the same logic or whatever.
Yeah, and it's like, yo, I get it. You have your ideals and you have what your beliefs are, but at some
Yeah.
point you do have to at least acknowledge, like, hey, I could understand why, somebody would want to leave for the sake of their health. That's understandable, right? Like from the topic, and we're not gonna get too deep into the topic, but the topic of uh, women terminating their pregnancies, right?
Oh,
Whatever your views are on that, but even the most staunch, and this feels like almost a low hanging fruit. Even the most staunch pro life people, right, should be able to understand, hey, this is the result of a sexual encounter that was not wanted, right? This was a forced encounter. There should be an understanding as to why she would want to terminate that pregnancy. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And the opposite side is the people who are pro-choice, like, oh, they should be able to, like, bro, can we at least agree that 9 months is a bit too late to terminate a pregnancy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's people who feel the need to, who feel like they belong to a group that believes something, and therefore they have to believe what the group says, regardless of what, even possible points, you know what I mean? Possible ideas that contradict what they say, even if they make sense, even if they even sound reasonable. But yeah, man, that's what we got for today.
Yep. That's all we got until someone else comes up with something to endure. But
But yeah, man, these guys are out of pocket.
Yeah.
If you, they say they want to help. Well, I don't know if they say that, but the people who are there do it with the implications that they want to help young men. You're doing a lot more damage to young men by messing up the brand of the community, because then that's what you guys become to the outside world. And you know who else is in the outside world? Lost boys and young men who are looking for guidance, who won't come around where you are because they assume that you want people to just endure these types of behaviors.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. Where do you see like the whole red pill movement heading towards?
It's to the fringes. It's gonna be to the fringes, I
Do you
think.
think it's gonna cause more like a uprising, meant to be more violent?
Uh, the red pill community.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna get a lot. It's gonna be a lot more crazy stuff like that. Like, oh, just endure beatings, or just do this, or just, you know what I mean? It's gonna be
Yeah.
it's gonna be a lot more. I believe anyway. It's gonna be just a lot more unreasonable takes that just make no sense. That just pushes them to the fringes, and it's like, all right, bro.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, it's like when you have 18-year-old kids talking about how to be a man and the manosphere and the red pill community. Like, all right, bro. Like at 18, you're gonna know. Obviously, people go through stuff in their life, but you know what I mean. It's gonna be like there's just gonna be a lot of fringe people. That's all I can say about that. Hmm.
Well, all right, guys. This is it. Well,
We'll catch you guys next week.
We're gonna give you a motivational Monday, right? And then
Yeah.
and then I mean, if there's any, I think we might follow up with whatever the reaction is of Abba Preach, because this is a topic I'm interested in, and the reason I'm interested in this topic is because I watch both channels, right? And I think both of them have some sort of
They have different audiences
Yeah.
for the most part.
So we'll see what happens. You know, I just want to know like if it's ever gonna end.
Well, I think what's gonna happen is that
They might squash it.
If Abba puts out some stuff out there that he says this is why I did it,
Yeah.
that'll be the end of that.
Yeah.
But it seems like I don't know if he has or not. I don't even.
Or maybe
care.
they'll just both squash and say like, you know, maybe they'll meet up and maybe they might even collaborate in the future.
Or Abba might not even respond to him and just keep going at them.
Yeah. Well,
But alrighty, guys. Peace.
see you next week.